The greatest thing an NBA player can ever experience during their career is winning an NBA championship. And the worst feeling they have during their career is losing in the NBA Finals. You see, we always talk about the good part of the NBA Finals, winning the ring, adding that to your resume, and being able to call yourself an NBA champion. But what about the other side, when you lose in the NBA Finals? In today's video, I'll talk about 5 teams and what happened to them after they lost in the NBA Finals. So let's get right into it. Starting off with the most recent team in the NBA Finals that lost, the Miami Heat. So coming into the playoffs, the Heat were a play-in team, so they had to earn their spot. But after winning their play-in game, they secured their 8th seed and now faced the Milwaukee Bucks, the 2021 NBA champions. Up against the Bucks, the Heat would do a gentleman's sweep, beating the Bucks 4-1 in this series, and now they advanced to the second round. In the second round, the Miami Heat would go against the New York Knicks. And in this series, it wasn't that easy for the Heat. The Knicks took 2 games away from them, but the Heat would still come out on top, beating the Knicks in the series 4-2. And now they advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. In the Eastern Conference Finals, for the second year in a row, the Miami Heat would play the Boston Celtics. And this was a hard-fought series for the Heat. At first, the Heat was up 3-0 in the series, but then the Celtics were going to win 3 games in a row, pushing it to a Game 7. But in Game 7, the Heat would stop the Celtics' comeback dreams and win the whole series. And now they advanced to the NBA Finals, where they would play the Denver Nuggets. So here we are, the 2023 NBA Finals, the Miami Heat versus the Denver Nuggets. Everyone had high hopes for the Heat. A lot of people thought they could get it done this year. But sadly, Jokic and Murray had a lot to say about that. Sadly, the Heat was only able to pull out 1 win during this whole series. And with that being said, they would lose the NBA Finals for the second time during this decade. So this offseason, the Miami Heat had lost Udonis Haslem, who sadly retired, Victor Oladipo, who they traded to OKC, Max Strus, who left to join the Cleveland Cavaliers, Gabe Vincent, who left to join the Los Angeles Lakers, and Cody Zeller, who left to join the New Orleans Pelicans. Those guys were some of the key role players for the Heat making the NBA Finals. But now they sadly don't have them. But let's talk about some of the players they added. One of the players being Thomas Bryant, which is crazy because he was just most recently on the Nuggets. They also recently got back Josh Richardson, and with the 18th pick, they drafted Triple J out of UCLA. And they could be on the verge of getting Damian Lillard. So after losing the NBA Finals, the Heat isn't doing too bad. Let's move on to the next team. The next team being the 2011 Miami Heat. So in the 2010 offseason, the Miami Heat was able to land LeBron James and Chris Bosh, forming a new big 3 in Miami. They called themselves the Heatles. So during the 2010-2011 regular season, the Heat would have the league on notice, going 58-24, being widely considered as the best team in the NBA. And during their playoff run, they would beat teams like the 76ers, the Celtics, and of course the Chicago Bulls. During their 2011 playoff run, the Heat would only lose 3 games, 1 from each series. And now here we are, the 2011 NBA Finals, where they would go against the Dirk Nowitzki-led Dallas Mavericks. And this series wasn't looking too good for the Miami Heat. LeBron James had a couple of bad games, and that basically caused the Heat to fall apart and lose in the NBA Finals. So now let's talk about the season they had after losing in the NBA Finals, their revenge year, the 2011-2012 season. So this was the NBA lockout year, so every NBA team only played 66 games. And during those 66 games, the Miami Heat would go 46-20, and now they're back in the playoffs. This go around for the Miami Heat wasn't so easy because in the second round, the Miami Heat faced a prime Paul George in the second round. Paul George and the Pacers were able to take the Miami Heat to 6 games. But the Pacers was too young and not good enough to beat the Miami Heat yet, so the Heat would come out on top in that series. And now they advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they would face the Boston Celtics. And during this series, the Boston Celtics would take the Miami Heat to 7 games. This was a hard-fought series for the Heat, but they were able to come out on top and now advance to the NBA Finals for the second time in a row, where they would face the baby OKC Thunder. And in this Finals, the Heat would do it. They would be able to win the NBA championship and get their revenge. And with that being said, let's move on to the third team. The third team being the 2021 Phoenix Suns. So after having an amazing season going 51-21, the Suns would just blow through the West, only losing 4 games during that playoff run. And now they meet up with the Giannis-led Milwaukee Bucks. This series actually started out looking good for the Phoenix Suns. They would go up 2-0 in the series, but sadly after that, things would change. In the next 4 games, the Suns would lose. And with that, they would lose in the NBA Finals, which is not a good feeling. So now let's move on what happened to them next season. Their finals appearance, the Suns are looking for revenge. And they straight up ran through the West. They went 64-18, now advancing to the NBA playoffs. In the first round, they would play the New Orleans Pelicans, and they would get rid of them in 6 games. But in the second round, they were running to Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. And in this is a series where Chris Paul would cut the lead down to 42 with that crazy 3-pointer. And also the series where Luka Doncic was making fun of Devin Booker. Everybody talks tough when they're up. But with that being said, the Suns would lose the series in 7 games. Moving on to the 4th team, with the 4th team being the 2015 to 2016 Golden State Warriors. So you telling me a team that went 73-9 ended up losing in the NBA Finals? And not only that, they were up 3-1 at one point, but they blew the 3-1 lead. They are the first and only team in NBA history to blow a 3-1 lead. They had the greatest regular season record of all time, but didn't even win the finals. Just imagine if the 72-10 Bulls did that. But let's talk about what happened after they lost the finals. So in free agency, they would land Kevin Durant. And after they landed Kevin Durant, the rest was just history. They would run through the NBA for a good 3 years, coming out with 2 NBA titles. And it could have been 3 had Kevin Durant not getting injured. So I say they did pretty good for themselves after losing in the NBA Finals. But now let's move on to the 5th team. The 5th team being the 2019 Toronto Raptors. So basically, after winning the 2019 Finals, Kawhi Leonard would leave that team to go sign with the Clippers. But other than that, the Raptors would keep pretty much the same team. But we noticed how much impact Kawhi Leonard had on that team. Because after Kawhi's departure, the Raptors had came nowhere near close to the NBA Finals. Which is pretty crazy considering they pretty much had the same team from that Finals run. But that's just basketball. After 2019, the Raptors had only made it past the first round once. And after 2019, the Raptors had missed the playoffs a total of 3 times. Things are not looking good in the 6th. But that's all I got for this video. Hey, you made this fun video, might as well like and sub. Or don't, that's your choice. But that's all I got for the video. I am out.